Hello there everyone. Today I'm going to show you how to make this beaded channel set flat Kumihimo braid, and it looks like this. So you have your flat braid there, as you can see, done on a square Kumihimo disc, and then we've just placed our beads so they're running down the whole middle of the braid. So it's almost like the channel set like this, and you can see them from both sides, so both sides of the braid are the same, as you can see, and this will make quite a nice looking bracelet like that and give a really nice effect. So if you want to learn how to make this, then keep watching. So it's these things that we're going to need. Now we'll need a square Kumihimo disc for this braid because we're making a flat braid, and then the cord that I'm working with here is a 0.9mm nylon cord. It's just the cord that I've chosen to work with, and this is just like an aubergine colour. I thought that would go nicely with the silver beads. You can use whatever cord you want to. All you have to make sure is that 2 lengths of your cord will go through your beads, so the hole in your beads there. So the beads that I'm using are some 6mm Stardust rounds, and I do know that 2 lengths of my cord will go through the hole in these ones. So let's get it together and let's get started. So to cut the cord ready, what we need is 10 lengths of about 1 meter each. Now that's just what I'm working with here. You can use different amounts of cord. How many cords you use will help determine how wide your braid is going to be, as well as the type and thickness of cord you're using. But I'm using 10 here because I want a fairly wide braid to be able to go around the beads basically. Then what I've done is I folded them in half so all the ends are together, and then in the middle I just tied a regular overhand knot to keep hold of it, all the cords together, and also know this is the middle point, and then I just attach a small length of wire here just to help pull the braid through. Now what I also recommend that you do, as we're using beads in this, is that you just kind of sort out your ends of your cord a little bit. If it's not necessary for you, then that's fine, but I find it just makes it a lot easier. So what I do is I get a lighter. You can only do this with synthetic cord, so nylon cord like this, and just gently singe the end and roll it between your fingers. And obviously be careful doing that because it's going to get hot, but that just kind of prepares all the ends and make them more like a needle and make it a lot easier to go through your holes in the beads. So we need to get all this cord ready, and then we need to put it onto the disc. So I've now set up all the cords here on the disc, and I put this knot in the middle and the piece of wire down through the middle of the disc there, so the square hole that you have. And then I've just distributed all my cords around the top row and the bottom row here evenly. And as you can see, if I'm using the amount of cords that I'm using, I'm filling out the disc completely. So then what I want to do first, before we start adding in any beads at all, I want to do a section of just the cord here, just kind of to have that at the beginning, so we can use that to finish off the bracelet as well if we're making a bracelet. So what we're going to do is, to make this braid, we need to start at the top here, so focus on the 2 middle ones. You kind of want to look at your disc as almost like you have a line down the middle here, and you have the 2 halves of it. So what I'm going to do is take the middle right one, so this one over here, and bring it over to the left side and place it on the side of that disc. So the one from the right goes over to the left, then the middle left one goes over to the right. You want to make sure you cross these over like this, so we have a braid. It's going to then tighten up the braid down the middle, otherwise you'll get 2 separate braids forming. So now what we need to do is swap over all these cords from top to bottom. So we have these 2 gaps in the middle, we're going to fill them in. Like I said, imagine you have that line down the middle and you have 2 halves of your disc. We're going to just focus on this half first of all, so imagine that's not there. I'm going to take the left middle one from the bottom there, bring it up into that gap that we freed up, that empty slot that we freed because we took it out to the side. Then take the very next one, going towards the outside of the disc, bring that down into the empty slot that we just freed up there. The very next one, bring that up, always filling in the empty slot that you just freed up, and then after that always taking the very next cord. Move your way all the way out towards the side of the disc, so you're basically using up all the cords here. Keep going until you used every single one. Last one to bring down, and then this is the last one to bring up. So there we go. So that's the one side done. Now we need to repeat the exact same thing on the other side here. So take the middle right one on the bottom, bring that up to fill in the gap that we have up there. Take the very next one, bring that down to fill in that gap that we just freed up, and then keep going out towards the side, doing the exact same thing. always taking the very next cord, move your way all the way out towards the side of the disc here, the very last one to bring up, and there we go. So now we've swapped all the cords around from the top to bottom. So now we have these two on the sides left. So what I'm going to do with that is just release the one on the left side first. It doesn't matter which one you do first. And I'm just going to give a gentle tug here in the middle, not too tight. And then we need to bring this down to the bottom, because that's where we have the free spaces, as you can see on the side there, to fill in that gap there. And then the one on the other side do the same. So the right one, just a little tug in the middle, and then fill the gap on the bottom there. So that's basically one full go around. And you want to keep doing this for a little while until you get a little braid coming out on the back there, so a little piece of braid, so we can use that at the end before we start adding in the beads. So I've now made a little section here. As you can see, I've got some braid coming out on the back, and that's enough for me to now be able to start adding in my beads. So we got all the cords here in the original position, and then we're ready to start our next round. Now this is where we want to add the bead in straight away, because as I mentioned, we take the middle one. In my case, I start with the right one. It doesn't matter what side you start with either, but I take my right middle one, bring it over to the side, and then also the left middle one, bring it over to the other side. These are the two cords we need to add our bead onto. So before I release them, I'm just going to bring them up like this. I'm going to get my first bead, and then I'm going to take my right one through that bead from the right side towards the left, and then I'm going to take my left cord, the one from the left side here, from the left side of the bead through to the right side. So basically just take it through in opposite directions. So push your cord through here and pull it all the way through, and then we have each cord coming out in opposite directions like this. And then we're just going to kind of basically keep repeating what we've just done, just bearing in mind that the right one, the one to the right side of the middle there, has gone through the bead over towards the left. So we want to make sure we keep it that way. So I'm going to release both of them now, pull the bead down into the middle of the braid there, and then we're just going to place the cords out on the side in the direction that they're going. So just like they would be placed originally without the bead, we're just adding the bead in to make sure it gets placed right there in the middle. And then all you want to do now is keep repeating the same thing as a normal go around that I showed you. So start from the bottom one, start on one side first, bring that up and over into the empty slot on the top on the same side. Take the very next one, bring it down, fill in the gap, and continue this, working your way out towards the side using every single cord. Filling in all the gaps along the way here, just like that. And then repeat the same thing on the other side as well. All the way, using every cord, working your way out towards the side. As you can see, it's the exact same thing now. We just have that bead placed in the middle. So all we have left now are the two cords on the side. So I'll grab my one cord first, just give it that gentle tug so you can just see the cord there tightening up a bit, but not too much because you don't want it to kind of misshape by pulling it too hard. Give it a gentle tug the other side and place it on the bottom of the disc to then complete this row and fill in that gap. And then now what I'm going to do is go back and start again, but this time again I'm going to do it without a bead because I want to kind of just cage in the bead with a bit of the braid without the beads in between every single bead that I add. So I'm just going to continue the same thing. The right one goes over to the left one goes over to the right, and then we just keep repeating. Now how many times or how many go arounds you want to do in between each bead is completely up to you. I'm going to see about doing about 3, I think. Just going to give it a nice spacing in between every bead. You can also put them closer, you can have a further distance between them, that's completely up to you. And then maybe make sure to count them if you want to make sure it's even as well. Just pull the side ones tight, bring it down. And the other side. And like I said, I'm going to be doing this 3 times before I'm then ready to add in the next bead. That's just what I'm going to be doing. Like I said, you can do it however you want to get to achieve the look that you want on your braid. So just keep going like this. I'll show you how to add in the bead as well. And then you can just play around with whatever design that you want to make. So I've now kept doing the same thing over and over again, adding all my beads as well along the way. And then this is what it looks like coming out on the back. You can see you got all your beads going down the center there, almost like channel set in the braid. And then at the end I just finished off making some more rounds, go arounds on the disc with just the cord and not incorporating the beads, just like the beginning, just to give me something at the end there to be able to finish off the braid. So now that we have that, we can then take this off the board and just tie a knot. So this is what it looks like on the one side. You can see all your beads there, and actually the back side looks exactly the same. So it doesn't matter what side you want to use here. You can see the beads on both sides and they're both the same. So that's how you make this. All that's left to do now is finish off the ends. So you can use some ribbon ends for that. I already have a tutorial that shows how to do that. So I'm going to put a link to that in the description box below. You can have a look at that if you need to. But otherwise, that's how you make this Kumihimo braid, with your beads kind of running as a channel down the center. So I really hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and thank you very much for watching. Hello there everyone. Today I want to show you how to make this watermelon round Kumihimo braid. And this is what it looks like. So obviously we achieve the watermelon effect also by the use of colours, but also the actual pattern. So if you want to learn how to make that, then keep watching. And these are the things that you'll need.